Liberty men's basketball fall to 0-3 in Conference USA.
Oh, wait a minute. I started clapping like you were coming in like positive here. You went right.
Well, I'm just reading the storylines now, Warner.
Well, okay.
I'm reading the storylines.
Well, I'll tone it down then a little bit. I was coming in all fired up.
America's favorite analyst is here. Yes, Paul Nazigian has joined the show. Joe Yock apparently forgot that we were doing a podcast.
He forgot. Well, you know what though? And I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this.
I have so many bad things to say right now.
There are people saying, did Joe just not want to be the second best analyst on his own podcast? That's what people, that was not my words. Not my words. People are wondering if that's why he didn't show.
Yeah, we did a Twitter poll last week. Who is your favorite analyst? And we sent it out to Flames Nation. And this is our winner, Paul Nazigian.
Maybe, because I haven't been on in a long time since it turned to Alcova Mortgage.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe Joe didn't want me on.
I know, what's going on?
No. Yeah, he just doesn't like competition. Yeah. So didn't mean to start it off negative, but it's hard to ignore that the Flames are winless in Conference USA. A couple things. Will Thursday be a must-win for this Liberty basketball team? But you know, what I want to talk about before is the positive spin. I think that the expectations that have been set on this basketball team throughout the years, like if the Flames lost a conference game in the ASUN, it'd be like, oh, time to panic. But the main question here, is it time to panic, hit the panic button for this Liberty basketball team?
All right, I've been kind of working on these. Ready?
Wow, you actually prepared for this podcast? That's
totally different.
I did. Ready? Here's my.
that's
my shock.
Wait, do it again.
Right.
and then here's the other word. Here's like deep concern for the.
Okay, yeah, that's more the coach's look right there. Yeah,
it's like I had to practice those because I don't know. I'm not.
You're not there
panicked.
Yet.
I'm not this is college basketball.
Right.
Like this is conference basketball.
Yeah.
And
really good
conference basketball. And this is basketball on the road.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I had to kind of work myself into what do the people think? I don't know what the people think. And listen, we got a great fan base. They're passionate. They want to see us win. Yeah. You mentioned the expectations, and you want to be at a place that has high expectations, right? You don't want to be part of a.
This team is created.
Yes, and that, right, and they come from season after season of 20-win seasons and a 30-win season and NCAA appearances. Yes, that's all great. It was created. We want to be a part of that, but. It's tough to win conference games, right? Yeah. So I think before what Seth Greenberg said before our broadcast when they were in the studio, talked about, top 10 teams that went on the road and they were like 3-8, 3-9.
Yeah.
And everybody's in conference and top 25 teams that have lost. It's like, Houston just lost 2 in a row.
Yeah.
It's like, that happens. It's not Liberty basketball. It's good. We wanted to be part of this conference, right? We went from Big South to ASUN, jumped 10 spots probably in conference difficulty. Well, you know what? There's great teams. There's great players everywhere. There's great coaches, and I think it's part of it. Now, some of it's the schedule. I think we've seen 3 of what I believe fully is going to be people in the top half of that conference. So there's a lot going on, but. It's a long season, but I don't.
Okay, fine. I'm not here to panic.
Chill out.
I was just asking.
All that to say, chill out.
I was asking for social media.
No, I didn't come on here for negativity. And it's like.
I think a couple of things. Number one, you're 2 plays away from being 2-1 right now.
Yes.
You are.
Yes.
You hit a corner 3 against Western Kentucky, you win it.
Good point.
You get that bucket in regulation, you win it.
Yeah.
You're 2-1, and we're saying okay, we are the type. Also, the other thing would be if this 3-game losing streak happened in the middle of the season as opposed to right here at the beginning, it would probably feel different as well.
You're exactly
You'd say,
right.
Okay, well, it's just one of those lulls. Everybody goes through in conference play. You hit some, rough patch. But it feels different coming right here at the start. Now, having said that, there are some glaring deficiencies. And teams are taking advantage of those deficiencies. And that's talking about being small. Like we are. There's nothing you can do about that. We are small, and you're seeing that play out in how we're losing these games, right? Louisiana Tech, 11 blocked shots, right? They outscored us 40-28 in the paint. They shot 28 free throws to our 19 because we have a hard time defending them in the post. We end up fouling. The other thing you're seeing is teams realizing and saying, okay, all we need to do is keep hammering the ball down into the paint. And like Louisiana Tech, second fewest three-point attempts of the season. The game before Jacksonville State took its fewest three-point attempts of the season. Like,
I don't think they actually hit a three until like the second half.
You're right. Jacksonville State didn't.
Yeah.
Like, in some ways, watching the game, I felt like we would dodge a bullet when Louisiana Tech would get bored with trying to post somebody up and they jack a three. So you're seeing the league shift as well. But also, Naz, like you said, these are some good teams. When you look in terms of size, and I just looked at like rebound margin in Conference USA, we're third, but we've played the first, second, and fourth teams in the conference in rebound margin. So you have played some teams that have some size. Now, FIU on Thursday, they're not going to attack us, I don't believe, the same way that these teams, well, they're the fast-paced, Havoc, VCU, Shaka Smart, like they want to turn you over and run, all that stuff. So we'll see. Is it a must-win game? I don't know if there's such a thing when you're a one-bid league and it all comes down to the tournament anyway. But boy, it feels like one just for everyone's sanity, ours included. Yeah. This is a game you need to take care of on your home floor.
Oh, just relax. Who says you need to be playing your best basketball in January anyway?
Right.
We're just saving it up.
You're exactly right. I mean, games go through runs and ebbs and flows, and so do seasons. And, you say, well, how can they look one way at the first half of the season and now be 0-3? And, you mentioned, like, it's conference play, and people are scouting way more and have longer time to scout and prepare. And some of the mystery now is being taken out of it. But it's like we're doing that too to other people. Like, again, getting ready for teams that we're going to see, taking away what they want to do and make them do something else. But again, that's not uncommon. Like, finding a different way to play. And so, you'd love to kind of grow and develop after some wins. It's come through losses. You mentioned your team is who it is, right? I mean, guys were recruited for certain spots and a certain style of play and a certain, like, and that's yielded so many wins.
Right. Hard to complain about the last 6-7 years.
Yes, I'm not ready to throw that out because we're too small, or I was thinking, like, we could do is, like Willy Wonka, not the new one, because that's garbage. Like the old
one, the classic.
Remember they had the one kid like wandered off and he got stuck in the taffy puller. Like, that's what
Joe Yock did that.
We just need to put Porter and Matheny in the taffy puller. We just put them in the puller a little, stretch them out a little bit.
Right.
That's all we need. But like, yes, they're a little bit undersized, but I'm telling you, like, you're gonna trade Matheny's a kid with grit and toughness and 12 points a game. You can I'm not trading him. Porter, all right, look, the guy's pushing a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Like, they are who they are, and that group, top to bottom, has yielded a lot of. There's a way to play, and it's like they're making adjustments. And I was thinking this, like, so adjustment and change is not. They're not synonyms. So are you going to make adjustments? Absolutely. In game, over the course of some games in a season, or I've heard some of it, like, changes. I'm not ready to change when you got multiple 20-win seasons. Right. Like, you want Kyle Porter, you want Kyle Rode to be able to bring the ball up, get into offense, and hit a three, and then we're mad that he's not 6'10". Because he can't defend Bacho. Like, that's unfair. Like, we are who we are, and we're darn good. They're going to figure it out, and they'll make some adjustments.
That's a good point. Change, I agree with you. Like, you don't need to change yet. But I will say some of the chatter that I've seen online is the frustration with the coaching staff not making those offensive adjustments. And when you have a small group, what kind of offensive adjustments would you make on this team? And is there any? If you can't, if you're too small, are you really going to just like sit there and put a game plan together where you're attacking the rim and you just don't have the size?
Well, again, like, so you're right there again, a possession or two against two really good teams. The way they play, on the road. So again, adjustments. What I know they're working on is, when you really need a basket or late game. And I think you've tried some things. Matt, you and I were talking about it. What's it been? Like 6 years since we've not had a guy where you could just go go get us a shot.
Right. Since
And
everyone in the arena knew who that guy was.
Went from Caleb
and they could
Homesley-
still go get it.
Yes, right. That you could put two guys
Yeah.
at him, and everybody knew where it was going. You couldn't stop him, right? Went from Homesley to Darius. And I'm telling you, as a coach, there is such a value on just knowing in my back pocket, buddy, go get us a shot.
Yeah.
And they're not that team this year, but there's other ways. There's a lot of teams around here that don't, you don't have it's going to be a team thing. And you saw yesterday. So at Louisiana Tech, Bacho is the real deal. I mean, you got a rim protector, a guy to transfer from a Power 5, Texas Tech. I mean, when he's in there guarding the rim, everybody else could really get out on shooters. And I think we just got a little stalled there in trying to come up with a late possession, a couple late possessions where we get shot clock violation. I just think, and I know coach will come up with something. I think more movement is what you're going to need. Getting guys, cutting, all 5 guys moving so no one can stand and just guard perimeters. But I'm going to leave that to them. They're all in great hands. Guys are working on their games and developing, and I think they're going to come up with what they need.
I'm with you. Like we talked at the beginning of the year, it can be both a blessing and a curse. Like we talked about the curse of having someone like Darius McGee, which sounds weird to say, but that if a team can slow him down, it slows everything down. Everyone's looking to him constantly to make the play. But in those late game situations, you had a guy who knew he was the guy and was willing to make those plays. Now, you can't focus in on just one guy per se, but when you get into those late game situations, we saw it on some possessions against Western Kentucky. We saw it certainly in this game as well down the stretch. You also, I don't think anyone on that team knows if they're the guy. You know what I mean? Like, because you don't play that way. You don't play through one person anymore. So now it's like, who is that go-to guy? Who is the guy? And they haven't been able to find it out. Like, the other piece for me is, what production are you going to get from your bench? Like, you look yesterday, what were the minutes, Sam? You got it right there. It was like 39 for Vidzant. I think it was close to that for Matheny.
Yeah.
Like
Matheny was 38,
that's hard
39.
to ask that from those guys on a nightly basis. You know what I mean? And we had overtime, so that played into it too.
Overtime, yeah.
But, like, nothing is coming easy right now on the offensive end. Like, you just watch possession to possession. They are working incredibly hard. Matheny looks like you're going to have to carry him off the court at the end of the night.
He's like sweating bullets.
Like, so that concerns me that you're not getting the type of production from your bench that can help you kind of keep those guys' minutes down a little bit, so you can go through a full conference season without just running into a wall at some point.
This entire game, you got 9 points from your bench.
And that's with 5 extra minutes. So that worries me, and I'm not sure we know Shiloh's done some things in his career, certainly, and he hasn't been himself maybe this year. Hopefully he'll come out of it. He's been a guy that's had some real, kind of ups and downs. So it wouldn't surprise me if he got hot at some point this year for a stretch. Peebles has got, you got to get more out of him, certainly. But then beyond that, it's a lot of just guys that haven't done it before.
Yeah, guys that have shown glimpses at times.
And it's hard to throw them out when you're feeling like you're fighting for your life just trying to get a conference win. That doesn't feel like the time for a coach, and I totally understand it, where Coach McKay would be like, listen, we want to get Ben Sutherland minutes.
Right.
We think he can be a really good player. I think we all do. But do we want to throw him out there in this kind of situation? That's tough for Coach to do.
Yeah, it is, and it's hard to get. I mean, Coach experimented a little more. We saw multiple lineups, non-conference, and saw glimpses from some of those guys and good games from some of those guys.
But that's hard to judge, really, because I mean, some of that competition was just
so varied as well.
Yeah, it was. You're either playing FAU, the best of the best,
and
or
Alabama,
you're playing.
And then you're
right.
But guys, you have to step up, and that's where it's like I get yesterday. It's like it was possession by possession going to overtime. Coach had to go with guys that you trust, and sometimes you ride those horses even if they're tired, and everyone was. But I mean that's where guys are going to have to show what they can do in practice, earn those minutes and trust. But yeah, I mean it's just going to take people stepping up, and when their number's called, being able to deliver. It's not easy.
So Joe Yock is sleeping in on this snowy Monday in Lynchburg.
He took a snow day.
Naz, this isn't even his real job being the color analyst for Liberty basketball. Are you assistant principal or principal?
I'm an administrator, assistant principal.
So we're going to give out some grades in this next segment, okay? So we don't do anything fun like this with Joe and mortgages or anything like that.
Put Joe in detention.
By the way, this is the Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage.
Yeah.
What grade would you give? Because when we talked to Coach McKay before this last, the Jack State game, I was like, Coach, do you want your guys taking 35 threes? Okay. And he said, yeah, that's, they're all good looks, yada, yada. What would you grade the shot selection? Whether, let's just focus on 3-point shooting. What would you grade the Flames in this conference play, last 3 games? What would you grade their shot selection from 3?
Shot selection, I'd say B+.
Which is good, right?
I like it.
That's positive, yeah.
And again, I went back and watched some of the Jack Stakey. That's the one that's the anomaly for me. That's the one. Yeah. Again, Western Kentucky. I mean, you're talking about a program that's been successful for years, and we saw Louisiana Tech yesterday. But the Jacksonville State game was
doesn't feel like the other.
Yes, that wasn't who we were.
Sort of like 21 first half points.
Yeah, and we were cold from 3, and we careless with the ball and free throws. And so that one kind of jumps out at me as if you want to say concerned, that one, but again, coming back and seeing how they played yesterday, the effort and everything. But yeah, I like the shot selection.
Which means those should start falling.
Yes,
right?
I mean, and yesterday was better. And again, I think you stretch that out over the course of the season. I think we're going to keep getting good looks and hopefully they fall.
Yeah. So you're saying B as well?
Yeah, I would say B as well. The I don't know if you say to worry, but like you go 10 of 27 and you still end up on those. So you kind of start to wonder like how much.
Right. How many?
What's the number? Yeah. Like how much do we need? And I don't know. Maybe that's oversimplifying it. It was good to see Kyle Rhodes shoot it better. Yes. Yep. You got to get him coming out of his shooting slump a little bit. So that was a positive. I do think, and we'll get back to your grade, sorry, but I do think the more I've watched this team, the more I think the most important guy on the floor is Zach Cleveland. And I don't think I would have even listed him in the top 3, maybe 4 going into the year. But I do think he's become that just because he can do some things no one else on the roster can do. Like he may be the one guy that can finish at the rim, that can give you that.
That's right.
He has kind of taken over that Kyle Rhodes role we saw the last few years of initiating offense. Yep. And he's second on the team in assists. Now his turnovers have been a little worse here this last couple of games. He was really good at that first stretch. But so he is able to do some things. And athletically, he looks the part. Liberty isn't necessarily the most athletic team at every spot, but he is. I think he's developed into the most important guy. Now, having said that, don't ask me my grade on free throw shooting because that is an area. That's an area he's got to improve because if you're going to be that attack the rim guy, you've got to be able to shoot better than low 50s or whatever it's at right now, mid 50s. So that is one area. If he could get that. That takes his game. He might average 2 or 3 more points a night.
Yeah, and there's a few other guys that need to step up from the line. I mean, again, Liberty doesn't get there a whole lot.
So when you do, you better take it.
Yeah, when you get there, and again, that's something that everybody. There's no excuse for it. You got to get to the line. You got to have reps. You got to get a shooting coach if you need that, and just you got to hit those, and they're valuable even more so for Liberty the way they play.
Were you a good free throw shooter?
Yeah, that was probably the one thing I could do. No, I mean, it's, and again, if you're...
Because I feel like that would be so in my head. I know that's hard for you to believe.
Well, sometimes, sometimes it is. But, yeah, that thing, and again, I was glad to see him correct. They were a little careless with the ball. They did a great job yesterday.
Only 9 turnovers as a team. Like, you can't argue with that.
But margin for error is not...
Yeah, but Cleveland had 4 of those. So, him taking care of the basketball is important. But that's my next one, turnovers. How would you grade how the Flames have taken care of the basketball in conference play? Or I guess, more so the last couple weeks.
Yeah, improving, So you get a C.
With a smiley face?
Yeah. With a note. You write a little note. Getting better,
Getting better. That's good.
I believe in you.
Yeah, it's just, things like, and again, little things, it means every possession. I mean, it's a tough conference. Again, we've kind of said that every possession matters. You got to get good shots. You got to rebound. You got to, take care of the basketball, and all the little things add up. And I was going to say before, like there's no margin for error. Everybody's got to come and say, here's what I can give on any given night, and do their part, do your job. You kind of hear that theme a lot. Hit shots, and again, I'm not ready to just sort of say that the guys we have, the way we play is not going to translate to wins in Conference USA.
Here's one thing that I will say too that I think is something that hopefully Flames fans, hopefully I'm right, and then hopefully they can hang on to this, right?
We're gonna notebook this.
Yeah, hopefully they can hang on to
this.
this. This is not the ASUN in terms of Liberty and Lipscomb running away from the pack.
Yeah.
Or Liberty and whoever, Kennesaw, and then a huge gap in everybody else.
Yeah.
This seems like it's going to be a just fist fight every night. Yeah. Everyone's going to beat up on each other. Yeah. I mean, look at this. Liberty and Middle Tennessee were picked tied first in the preseason poll. Neither of them have a win. Right. Neither of them have a conference win yet. Yeah. So, like.
I didn't know Middle Tennessee.
And Jacksonville State was picked down at the bottom,
dead
too.
Last.
Yeah, that's
right. Which that kind of surprised me.
Sam Houston's 3-0. Yeah. Like, who would have thought? You know what I mean? Like, so, like. I do think there's an opportunity. Don't just write off competing for the regular season just yet. I know we've dug a hole. I know it's going to be hard. If you lose Thursday, it gets that much harder. Yeah. But, like, if you find a way to win these 2 games at home here this weekend, you're right back in the mix. Yeah. Because this is going to be a conference where I feel like everybody beats up on each other, and you may only be a couple of games over 500 and be the regular season champ. I don't think anyone's running away with it.
Right.
Yeah, Flames Nation, you heard Matt Warner. So 2 home games, Thursday, Saturday. School is finally back in session.
Students got to be there.
So students need to show up because, like Naz was saying earlier, it is difficult to win on the road in this conference. So we need to make it difficult, or Flames Nation. Yeah. You know.
Now here's the thing. Here's I'm going to tell you what what Coach did wrong. Now usually I'm not controversial, you know, and I like to be positive, but I'll tell you what the error was. Yeah. He and the guys, the last few years, they made it look too easy.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? That's Coach should have come out like after those wins. He should have come out with his glasses all askew and his tie off and go, man, I don't know how we won it. You know, it's just, man, it was just, and the guys should have been on the podium and going, man, it was just a fist fight out there. We could
rip your jersey a little bit.
Right, put some blood on it. Road
we
should have had some
don't get
blood.
this kind of energy and effort from Joe Yock. I mean, this is incredible.
And they should have said
what are you doing every Monday at 10:30 for the next?
I'm battling middle schoolers every day.
He's looking like that.
Right,
he's the one with his glasses.
That's what I look like.
Yeah, right.
But like they come out and Coach, they talk about, hey, this is the way we play, and these are our guys, and the guys talk about being great teammates and working hard. And it was translated into, you know, what was ACE on average margin of victory? 15, 16 points.
I mean,
and it was just, we loved it and it was great, but to kind of think that's what we'll do in Conference USA is just unfair, and it wasn't realistic. And we're learning it, and the coaches are learning, and the guys are learning it. It's a tough conference. I don't want to be anywhere else. I mean, we wanted that step up.
Right.
It's great with the notoriety. I mean, all teams look at Liberty University and the benefit of all teams having success.
Would Liberty have been on ESPN2 yesterday if you were playing ASUN?
Exactly.
No, you don't get that. So, like, yes, this is what you want.
Yep.
So now,
some growing pains.
If you're a competitor, believe me, I know Coach McKay is an absolute competitor.
That's what it takes.
He said, okay, this is what we want. Now we figure it out.
I'll tell you what I don't like. I had to interview, because usually we interview the leading coach. So whatever team is leading at the half.
You went a long time without interviewing anybody but Coach McKay.
I have never not interviewed Coach McKay. Yeah. I'm trying to think back, when was the last time I didn't interview Coach McKay? When were the Flames not leading going into half? Right? I don't think, I looked in the record books. I got the Bill Smith SID looking at it. So getting him coming out of the half, he is so serious. He's so like buttoned up, and he's not like the typical Coach McKay that I get.
Well,
going
you know,
into
he
half,
had his conference face on. That's right.
I know, but I didn't like it. So hopefully that turns around. Naz, my last question to you before we preview a little bit on FIU, if you guys have anything. Why do you believe in this Liberty men's basketball team?
I mean, it's the test of time. You know, it's like losses, road losses, conference losses. And again, it's a little bit uncharted, but not, I mean, I've been around the game a long time, you know, played, coached. This is what you do in January. You find, you know, people are stopping you. We all had a nice sleep last night, right? We had nice I guarantee they flew home, and everybody went home, and the coaches went up to the office and watched film.
Yeah.
That's right. FIU watched film. Those coaches had a sleepless night. How are we going to go into Liberty Arena and beat them? It's the nature of the beast, and it's hard. But again, you look back, you can say whatever about the conferences. Like, we put the graphic up almost every when we do the game. We're top 5 in
the nation
in wins over the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like up in the hundreds. Like it's a proven successful philosophy of a way to play. And the guys that coaches are bringing in are quality young men. They're gritty. They're tough. They'll figure it out.
And I'll say that. You look at this. You think Cade Matheny is going to fold?
Yes.
Throw in the towel. You think Colin Porter? Like, they've got some guys in that room that you look to and you say, I don't worry about this getting to them where suddenly they're not working the way they need to work to get out of it.
We'd love to see win. Nobody wants it.
Right.
Nobody wants it more than Coach McKay and the staff. Nobody wants it more than those guys. They've earned it. They're the ones laying their sweat and blood out on the court. They're working their tails off. We just got to support them and be there for them. Come out Thursday night against FIU. They're gonna need everybody.
Do you have anything on FIU before we get to mailbag?
So FIU, like I said, they go fast. They play fast. They lead the conference in steals. They're second in the nation in steals per game at over 11.5. Arturo Dean, their guard, leads the nation in steals. So they want to run. They want to speed you up. Jacksonville State, we watched their game in prepping for those guys, and they're a team that doesn't want to play fast. They played out of character against FIU. It nearly cost them the game. They turned it over, I think, 20 times in that game. So we talk about assist-to-turnover ratio. You talk about Colin Porter, how well he's taking care of the basketball. Flames have got to take care of the basketball. If they do that, I think Liberty gets their first conference win on Thursday night. But that is the biggest key, is they can't play at FIU's tempo.
Yes, and so
Matt Warner's not always right, but he's never wrong.
That's right.
So you want to take that to heart.
Just needs a little more data to prove it.
Right.
And that's where, like, we'll go into this game knowing we got all 5 guys that can help break a press. Right?
Exactly. That's one of. So we always talk about our weaknesses.
Right. So I mean,
that going into the season is one of the strengths. You got a lot of ball handlers on the floor.
That's right. So what are you gonna do? Like, so what are they gonna do? They're gonna go full court man. You're gonna go kind of a diamond or a box and one press. Like there's multiple ways you can have the guards up there. You could throw over the top. You could have road. After the inbounds, get the ball back, bring it up. And so it's like that versatility, that interchangeability that Liberty is. Yes, it's a strength. At times, is it a weakness? Yes, but everybody at this level, every player at this level has some kind of thing that you can attack or something that they're working on.
Right.
If not, they'd be at Power 5s. Right. So you got to be who you are. And again, I like going into Thursday with the pressure. We've done well. We've got guys that should be able to handle it well. And then it's going to be a matter of getting into offense and getting good quality shots.
And I like that this is an FIU team that, like, you look at their bigs, they average like 5 or 6 points a game. They don't have some of those guys that you should be. Now, if it ends up going wrong, then we've got real concern, because that's not a team that should be able to take advantage in the same way that some of these other teams have.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Well, if you want to be a part of the show, you can do so. flamescentral@liberty.edu. So here, if you want to just give like a mailbag.
You don't have to do that, Jen. You don't have to do that.
Okay.
Don't.
Okay. Mailbag.
That's typical. Right.
That's flamescentral@liberty.edu.
And if you send us a question, a good one that we use, we will send you a mug. I'm still going to send one out.
Liar. He is a liar.
I sent one out. I sent it out.
There has been a package on his couch in his office for a week.
It was like 2 weeks.
Somebody's waiting on it.
And he walks by the mail, the post office on campus every single Monday.
That's on me. I'm going to be better. That's my New Year's resolution.
David, I think it was to David. We got you.
He should
it's
have
on the
it
way.
by now. Hopefully it's there.
I'm
going to send a mug to our guy that sent in a question this week, Pete. Pete asks us, and this is a good one, Naz. You're a historian. You've been around Liberty a long time. He wants to know, by long-time listener, first-time emailer, he said, so that's good. He wants to know, in the near future, you've got your Malik Willis, Darius McGee, Jill Bolton, and he says most likely Emily Austin are locks for the Flames Hall of Fame. Who, Naz's face said it all. I say, what?
Where did we find this chick?
Who of current Liberty athletes do you think will join those guys and will be inducted into the Liberty Athletics Hall of Fame? Is there someone that jumps out that you're like, that guy will be in the Liberty Hall of Fame? Any sport, doesn't even have to be basketball.
Kyle Rode?
think Kyle Rote will probably be in there.
Is there a Hall of Fame for like the best leaders and nice guys?
Well, his stats will be.
his stats, over 5 years.
Yeah, his stats will be there.
I mean, look at Salter, what he
Caden
did.
Salter,
How do you not, with
another
breaking every
season
record?
with those type of numbers, I think he would certainly be in there.
Is this just players or coaches too?
Well, he mentioned players.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, obviously Richie McKay's a
Yeah.
lock.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Who are you thinking?
I'm not sure. I love following the other teams.
You know what's hard though?
Oh,
And
Azul Aritzidi Goshen.
from
I
field
mean,
hockey.
how do you not?
Here's what's going to be hard. Is the era of college sports we're in, you're not going to have any Kyle Rhodes.
Right.
No.
So you're going to be going, you may have to change your criteria a little bit.
That's a very good point.
To be like, well, he had, like for instance, take a CJ Daniels, right? Just committed reportedly to LSU. Like, would you say what he did in his career? Now, maybe not, because he had the injuries and stuff, so his career numbers. But someone like that, right, that maybe transfers at the end or goes somewhere else, like, maybe you have to consider them more than you would have otherwise. That's another thing, though, and we're getting sidetracked, that we go into when you talk about this portal era and all that stuff, that I feel like kids, it's not high on their list of priorities, is
to want to come back.
You can always come home. Darius McGee will get his number in the rafters, and he will always be a Flame, and he'll be able to bring his kids back here. Every year he'll be celebrated at the 20th anniversary of this. The 50th. You're doing it. You're doing it for that. No, the 94 team.
That's right.
You're celebrating that anniversary. That's not going to be the way it is for a lot of guys. That you look at these rosters, and it's not Liberty now, but it's a lot of teams in this Conference USA, where it's like, this is a guy's third team in 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Where's he going home? Where are you taking your kids someday to say, look,
road trip.
You know what I mean? Like,
we're going to
I know that's not high on the priority list, but it is something that's going to be lost. And I feel like you lose that down the line when you're older and you don't feel like you have that home to go back to, that's the place I played ball. That's where I had all these memories. You lose that, and tying it back to this, it may make it harder to find Hall of Famers over the course of a career. It may turn into, well, this guy had a record-breaking season,
so
and
I
that gets
think,
you in.
and again, maybe home is kind of where you finish or where you have your best year, but I wouldn't be surprised if, and some teams probably have this, but you've got a University Hall of Fame. I wouldn't be surprised if teams kind of come up with their version of the Ring of Honor. So it's like, I can put you had one season and you took us to a championship. You certainly have value and you make some memories, but you're not going to be a university.
Ring of Honor
that
guy.
may take several years, and it should. The criteria shouldn't change, but I kind of like that. There's kind of another lower level of guys that you can recognize. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, like if Caden Salter transferred, out, I think that you would put him in that Ring of Honor because he led us to that.
Yeah, you have something in the football building and stadium maybe that.
But it's different though now.
It's
going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot different. Now, I will say this too.
Callie Doan, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I am. Callie Doan, she's got to be a Hall of Famer too. Liberty women's distance runner.
And I will say this, and I say this any chance I get whenever it comes up. Speaking of the Hall of Fame, we got to get Jesse Sanders in there. Like, it's been, I don't know what the criteria is. Like, leads Liberty all-time in assists. Had what, triple-double every season he played. He was sixth in rebounds. Like, get that man in the Hall of Fame. Get him in there.
I think, the time is coming. Obviously, I keep more tabs on basketball, but, getting some of those other guys in, Jesse's pretty recent, but certainly deserving. I think his time is coming. This fall, Coach, you mentioned the 94 team coming back. Coach Jeff Meyer, a guy that I played for and worked with, gets in the Hall of Fame this past fall. So, each of the sports, again, nice to see people going in. And, Sanders, I think his time is coming, rightfully so.
All right, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for actually coming in. And
anytime.
I don't know what you're doing next Monday. No, I'm just joking. We missed you, Joe. But just make sure you know that next Monday we're doing the same thing. So just for you, if you want to listen again,
we have people now that come up to us on the street and say, every Monday, I'm just refreshing YouTube or whatever, waiting to see the podcast post.
Joe doesn't even know.
And one of the hosts, Naz, doesn't even remember we do this on Monday. Absurd.
You know what? Matt had a theory.
It's absurd.
I think that he's just a little scared to
He's
have.
intimidated.
You know, he's a
intimidated.
little.
Now listen, I don't know. Is another podcast offering them more money? I don't know. That's the day and age we live in now.
NIL is getting the yacht talk.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident we're safe there. Yeah, I feel pretty confident.
You might want to study up on your football because we might be looking for a new analyst and host, for the show. Just joking. Paul, we'll see you on the call on Thursday with Matt and myself. So get out there, Flames Nation, as Liberty hosts FIU. And again, we'll see you right back here next Monday.